Ryan, will you tell us about your experience as a teacher before you found CI last year?
I graded a lot of papers. Um, my students, I felt like they did well, but they had a hard time retaining things. They would study for tests, and they would do great, and then I feel like the things that I would teach just weren't sticking with them. And I have been researching TPRS and CI, and I just hadn't had an opportunity to really go to a workshop or anything like that until last year. Midway through the year, I went to a Blaine Ray workshop, and it was amazing. But it was a 2-day workshop, and then I went right back to teaching on Monday, so I didn't have time to really develop anything, or I tried some storytelling, but it was really overwhelming, and I was worried about all the steps that I had to do, and I was just worried about doing it right, and I'm someone that doesn't want to do something incorrectly, so I'll research and learn all there is to learn before I try it. And so I was just feeling really overwhelmed, and I thought, well, I'm going to kind of put this back on the shelf. It's great. The kids were great. They loved it. But I didn't feel like I was good enough at it to do it for the rest of the year, and so I just planned to do some more research over the summer, and I went to a Ben Slavic workshop, and it was amazing and great. And so I started fresh this school year with what I learned in that workshop.
Thank you. So what attracted you to doing this work with your kids at the beginning of this school year?
Honestly, it was less work for me. Just learning that I didn't have to necessarily plan. I didn't necessarily have to grade a bunch of papers. I didn't have to make a bunch of copies. I didn't have to. It was fun. It was like just the energy that I experienced when we created these characters in that workshop. It was fun, and it was engaging, and I envisioned doing this in class, and that's kind of what started it.
Great, thank you. And what would you say if you were a new person who just found CI and you wanted to try this type of work? What would be their experience, do you think?
It's really powerful. It's easy, and it doesn't require a lot of planning, and the kids they're sitting like this all the time. They're on the edge of their seats, and they want to know what's happening and what's happening next, and it's fun. There's a lot of laughter in class. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of joy in what we're doing, and it's fun. I'm smiling all day. I'm not stressed out worrying about what I have to do next.
Mm-hmm,
So that's a huge part of it.
Great, thanks. And last question. What has been your experiences this year, like with your kids and the characters and the stories? How's that going?
So we started just doing the one-word images and getting a little bit deeper into them so we're about 6 weeks in, and we've been starting stories for the last couple of weeks, and they're great. They're they're so creative. The kids are hilarious. The characters are hilarious. And each class really takes ownership in their characters, and I've got them, each class has an area on the wall, and they come into the room, and they want to know about the other class's characters, but they get really possessive of their own, and they think theirs are better than everyone else's, and they're really unique and creative.
Will you tell us a story, or just kind of recap a character that you love?
I liked Candace, the can.
I did too. I thought she was cute.
She was good. Candace was a can a can of Dr. Bob soda, like the generic Dr. Pepper. Candace lived a life of crime. She didn't have a family. She sold kidneys on the internet for money. They're out there and they're random, but that's what makes them great. We have a pink bee from Houston, Texas, named Beyonce. We've had, oh my gosh, so many great ones.
How do you feel about their language acquisition? Like, if you're not using targeted words when you're starting the story, how do you know that they're acquiring the language?
Because they're using it. They're saying things spontaneously in class. They're making comments about their characters. They're saying they're putting together things that they had learned, you know, the week before when they're giving me their answers. They're it's weird. It's strange, but it's great.
Lovely, thank
Yeah.
you. Do you have any closing remarks?
Just try it. Just try it. Yeah, it's joyful, and it'll change how you feel about teaching. It's changed how I feel about teaching. You know, I love kids and I love teaching, but it's a lot of work. Teaching is a lot of work, and it's always been working on the weekends and working at night and taking things home, and I haven't been doing. I've been doing that to, you know, reading and staying fresh with kind of. I'm getting a little bit more. I've been really trying to script things out a little bit more, but I realize that when I do that, it gets in the way of the spontaneity of it, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And when I just let it happen, these characters they're better and they're funnier, and the kids are more engaged and more interested in what is going to happen than if I have to plan something out, and if I'm taking my idea of what I think should happen, they do better
That's
when
great.
they have the ownership in it.
That's great. Ryan, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.